Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Airway Sim. I'm still used to saying Air Tycoon Online guys, but anyways, my little company here is blossoming into success. If I guys take a look at my income report, you can see I'm making a quite frankly ridiculous 30% after tax margin. And as much as I'd like to keep my company this way with very high margins, I need to increase my actual revenue and actual profit number, even if it's at the sacrifice of my margin a little bit. So it's time to expand more. Now, if we take a look at my aircraft here, they're all very profitable, but you'll see that some of the routes are doing really well with high 90% load factors, as you guys can see here. Some of them are slightly lower than others, but this route, for example, has only 70s. And you might be wondering why that is, even though there is still much more demand than supply. And the main reason for that is actually I need route image. Now, the first couple routes you get receive free route image, so you start at 60 or 70 route image. But after that, we get increasingly little amount of free route image until your routes will start with 0 route image. And routes with 0 route image need to take a little bit of time before they manage to accelerate themselves into a very profitable route. So, as I likely increase the size of my fleet, I'm gonna see increasingly or decreasing profit margin, I guess. So increasingly decreasing profit margin. But overall, my revenue flow will increase until, of course, a lot of those routes catch up in value. Until my company is large enough so that you won't really notice the part of the company which still hasn't hit 100 route image. But anyways, looking at that, we can see that the people trying to lease the 757s on a temporary term are struggling a bit, even though it is a really good deal. I could be saving a good 25,000 a week or more, even about 50,000 a week I could be saving by choosing to lease that temporary Boeing 757. But in addition, I don't really like the cabin layout chosen here. It's 170-15-0. I slightly prefer this for the routes I'm intending to use this aircraft for. So let me go ahead and lease this aircraft. A bit of a shame that it's almost 20% more expensive than the other aircraft, but go ahead on a 1-year lease. And the reason I'm doing 1-year leases is because the game charges you a cost upon order based on your lease contract, and it gives it back to you over the course of your lease contract on this cost upon order. And I wanted to get it back as fast as possible because I don't have a lot of capital to start with in the first place, and increasing the lease term very marginally decreases the cost, as you guys can see. Like, even a 15-year lease, it's still not very much cheaper than a 1-year lease, and in case I want to cancel the lease for what reason or another, this is much easier to do. So yeah, maybe it'd be more efficient to use 2-year lease or something like that, or 5-year lease, because I'll probably have these leased for that long at least. But instead, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase, or just not purchase, but do a 1-year lease for my little 757. Anyways, going on to opening the route, I believe I have scouted out some demand in Europe. Specifically, it'd be a lot faster if I found the United Kingdom. And here we go. I believe there were some routes in here which have a very decent chunk of demand, Newcastle specifically. And yeah, there we go. As you guys can see, for 2 or 3 first seats, big chunk of business class demand, nearly perfect for the plane with the cabin I just bought. So let's go ahead and open this route up. Now, given that it's 3,500 nautical miles, what I think immediately is this is about the range where the route is just less than 24 hours. What do I mean? Like, if we see my scheduling, we take off at 9 and we arrive back at 6, and with the turnaround time, we're wasting a couple hours every day. So what I figure is instead of basically as I've been doing, which is scheduling 6 days a week of the plane because the route is too long, and then leaving 1 day for that little maintenance break in the week, what I can do is I can just schedule these back to back. And what do I mean by that is, for example, on Monday, I'll select what's the latest possible time I can take off and still be in a good time slot. Now, 2250 is 55 is the latest time you want to take off ideally. You can also take off up to an hour after this, and the penalty for bad takeoff and landing time will be there, but it'll be much more reduced than if you go after midnight, where the penalty for creating a route in that time zone or time slot, it becomes very punishing. So next one is 2110. So on Tuesday we'll take off at 2110. And yeah, basically what you can see is happening here is every day of the week the route is going to get earlier and earlier in the day, and by the time we get all the way around back to Monday, that route will end sometime around here, and we'll have enough time for that nice maintenance break. Also guys, I'm not sure, but I think in my previous recordings I've been playing some no copyright sound in the music. Shout out to whoever's been making those musics out there for no copyright sound. But I don't know, how are you guys enjoying it so far? Have you noticed? Is it distracting? Does it not quite fit for an airway simulator? But I certainly enjoy it. It gives a much, in my opinion, more pleasant vibe than just me talking, where I can talk nearly constantly for hours on end about something like an airway simulator somehow. I don't know how, but I can end up doing that. But I feel like this is just a little bit more lifelike, and that's nice. Anyways, I also see that I've been getting quite a few comments on my videos, and thank you for that. I really do appreciate those, and I like reading them. It just makes me feel like what I'm doing is not just sitting in front of a screen talking to nobody. The fact that people actually see what I said and correct me on ETOPS standing for engines turn or passengers swim. I completely forgot that. For some reason, it's kind of ingrained in my head that it wouldn't be something that silly, I guess. But anyways, I got that time completely wrong. And yeah, my takeoff time is getting pretty early on in Newcastle. It's like 7 a.m. now. So as soon as that gets earlier than 6 a.m., so as soon as this time gets earlier than 6 a.m., I'm going to skip 5 hours, and I think I'm going to do that now. So 1410 or 325 plus 5 hours is 1835, or was it 25? I forget. Yeah, 25. So if we add 5 hours, we get 1825, so that leaves just enough time for the 5-hour maintenance check. And I forgot to increment the day. Hold up. Yeah, as you guys can see, the tabs are multiplying. I always prefer to open a new tab instead of use my existing one, because sometimes the game has very glitchy interactions when you try and use the back key, so sometimes it won't load properly. So yeah, 1640. Oops, where'd that tab go? Here it is. And 1640, here we are. So perfect. Now we have completed 1 week scheduling, and as you guys can see, we even have this much time to spare. So it's probably we could probably put a route in there. We can probably put a domestic route in there. So Saturday at 13:25, I believe, will be our maintenance check. And let me look for a domestic route which I can squeeze into this gap, because I think I can. So if we open a new route to North America, I believe Cleveland has some open demand. I know this because I actually was open to base in Atlanta before I started the series, and then now that I've started this series, I've also decided, hey, why not record it and make a little YouTube series out of it, because I kind of miss doing that since I stopped playing Air Tycoon Online. Air Tycoon Online is still nice, but the time period of the game is too short, meaning the game time progresses too fast. Um, and other than that, it's still fun, but it also lacks realism in many ways, uh, which this game is the most realistic airway simulator I've ever played. And if any of you guys know a better or even more realistic airline simulator, I'll be very happy to try it out. I really want to really find the best airline simulator. If anybody knows one that can simulate the like passenger transfer, like has an actual model for passenger transfers, I'd be really down to try it out. Um, as you guys know, in this current world, there is no real model of passenger transfers or cargo transfer for that. So that stops. It basically makes point-to-point flying ideal, which is why the 757, 767, A330, and 787 will dominate this game. And there's only very niche uses for larger planes such as the 777, 747, like very niche, more niche than even in real life. So yeah, if anybody knows like an airline simulator which balances realistic demand, realistic aircraft and passenger transfers, and also a realistic model which simulates passenger behavior, considering, for example, in real life you could make a budget airline, where in most airline simulators there's no point to making a budget airline, where you can just make a premium airline which makes more money. So yeah, if any of you guys have know of an airline simulator which is even better than this one, I'd be very happy to try it out. But this is the best I've played so far. It's definitely got the most realistic aircraft models in terms of accurate information to real life and the way airplanes behave with takeoff weights and runways and such. Just for an example, of course, I'm in Atlanta, so I'm going to have no runway restrictions whatsoever, but it takes into consideration the takeoff weight of your plane at certain ranges. So like, for example, I can fly at max takeoff weight to 3,500. The cargo version can fly at max takeoff weight to 2,600 and such like that. And it's the realism of the planes really makes this game nice. Now, I'm tempted to lease one of these aircraft because I want to make another route on camera, but I only have 3 million in cash. So as you can see, I can just afford this. But this aircraft, I'm gonna need a long lease period to afford the aircraft. But I think I'll do it. I think I'll do it because, you know what? I don't want to make just one route on. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't want a 14.5-year lease. Nor do I want a 13-year lease. Nor do I want a 10-year lease. Nor do I want an 8-year lease. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna be going with that guy's non-renewable leased 757. I'm guessing why he's doing this. You might wonder why he would offer out to lease a plane, but temporarily, and that's because he's probably doing a fleet transition, if I were to guess. It's just a guess. Of course, I don't know, but he's likely looking to change his, for example, his DC-8s into 757s or some of his 727s. I have no idea, to be honest. But in order to do that, you cannot start operating the 757 right away. I know he says 3 in use, but I'm telling you now, those are not in use. They're being just sitting around waiting for him to lease them out or something like that. But the reason for that is because operating a 4th fleet type at this size would be too costly. Even if it's just one aircraft, the way this game calculates fleet commonality costs isn't really consistent to real life, and it's basically made to nerf larger companies, so you have to stick to 3 airplane types. But he has to collect enough of these to do his fleet switch nearly instantaneously. As you can see, he has 133 on order, and he's 37 leased out. So what that's telling me is he wants to wait for all 133 to arrive before he transfers his fleet, and he might as well make some money from it in the meantime. And fair strategy. He is offering very discounted lease prices, so I think I might go for that. I like this. I like this song. Anyways, I think I just gotta go for this one. You know? Yeah, I think I gotta go for this one. As I said, not a fan of the cabin layout, but we'll make it work. I'm not gonna change it, of course. I'll do the maximum 2 years to give me the most amount of time to, you know, before I have to find a new airplane to replace this one. Hopefully, I'll remember to find one, but something tells me I won't. So, anyway, so let's open a new route again, and to Europe, and let's just take a look at what we can fly to in Europe. Fly to cities like Stockholm or Zurich, but something tells me there's not going to be a ton of demand to those. Yep. Vienna, that's a bit far for a 757. We got guys like Malaga and Lisbon, but yep, as I said, there's not going to be enough open demand for us to be looking at those yet. We got routes like Las Palmas, Dublin. I'm sure these are all going to be taken. Dublin's a really nice place to start because there's a surprisingly large amount of demand. But the more interesting fact about Dublin is the fact that it's in Ireland, which has really, really low tax rates, but it's still in the EU. So once the EU opens up, and whenever the EU decides to open up, I can't remember. Ooh. I'm just looking at that now, but it's a shame somebody has a relatively large aircraft on that, because I'd like to join that. Unfortunately, can't really do that. So yeah, these are future routes we can make, but for now, like Geneva, Munich, we were just looking at. I want to look at routes which can literally more than fill my 757 immediately. Basically routes with a bit thicker demand than these that I'm looking at now, because of course I want to start out my company with a high margin. And here we go, Bristol. Bristol is perfect. So Bristol is quite close as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that same daily scheduling technique, except I'm gonna increment it one day, so I can fly to Cleveland again, except on a different day. So yeah, here we go. It's gonna be a bit tedious, of course, because I have to do day to day, but don't really want to cut the video because I have no editing software. I just have OBS recording. Yeah, maybe, does anybody know an easy to use editing software? Easy to learn, specifically. Like, for a time I had let's say borrowed version of Sony Vegas, and I was trying to use it, but basically it was just too difficult. I just needed something to stitch video clips together and render. That's literally all I wanted, but figuring out how to do that on Vegas was a bit of a chore. I'm sure it's very powerful if you're not stupid like me and know how to use it, but for somebody casual, like something like iMovie, I'm guessing I should probably look into Windows Movie Maker, but I don't know if that even still exists. Like, do people still use that? I don't know. But anyways, basically what I'm saying is, anybody know some good, hopefully free, but doesn't leave a watermark editing software? Yeah, I hate watermarks. So 1610 is our next flight. And are we hitting the morning yet? We are actually not, which is very, very nice. Yeah, anyways, guys, so if you guys are still watching, and you haven't tried Airway Sim yourself, I'd really recommend it if you like Airway Sims. And obviously, if you're watching my channel and you're this deep into the video, I would have to assume you are somewhat a fan of Airway simulators. Ooh, I just realized my arrival time there was 15:55, or 5:55, not 15:55. So I'm gonna want to actually change this up a bit. So this departed at 14:30 or 13:45 as the minimum. So we're gonna want to go to 18:45, was it? If only I didn't have short-term memory loss, this game would be a lot easier. Yes, okay, I don't actually have short-term memory loss, but some of the times I don't think you'd be able to tell that I didn't. Whoops, I need to remove this one from the schedule first. That looks a bit short. Wait, 15? Oh. I don't know what I'm doing. So what's 15 plus 5 is 20. Alright, there you go. Apparently I'm still capable of basic arithmetic, though you might not think it. Was this the problem one which okay, whatever, I don't care. It's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes past the ideal time. 5 minutes can mean a lot if it's before 5 a.m. or after midnight. Oh, and including midnight, but just 5 minutes before that will make a big difference, actually. So this is 1905. And yeah, we're finishing off the week here. Just one more day. At 7:25. Yeah, as you guys can see, this is a bit tedious, or to say, but the fun part later on is not the tediousness of doing this one by one, but once we are putting in large orders for aircraft and are scheduling many aircraft at once and not worrying about having a smooth acceleration, I guess, of routes. 1725, what I missed that by so much. Who knows, but basically once you're not trying to have a smooth acceleration of your routes and you just want to schedule your routes in the most efficient way possible, and we get into 7-day scheduling, that's when the game goes from just kind of tedious to kind of interesting because of the way you have to try and stitch things together. And maybe I'll try starting that next day, but in order to 7-day scheduling, it's not 100% necessary to have it's not 100% necessary to have 7 planes. You can do 7-day scheduling with just 1 plane and just add the routes to the new planes as they come in, but that creates a little issue where you gain route image really slowly because you're only flying once a week to like 7 or 8 or something destinations. And right now I want to gain image fast. Now, okay, that doesn't quite fit. That's fine. Just let's see. It wants 2320 for an ideal amount, so it's a small chance of delay, but I think I'll live with it. 105-minute turnaround, and we'll change this to 40. So yeah, it's 8% chance of delay, but hopefully nothing. Hopefully that's not too bad. I mean, like once a week of chance having a delay is, not something I really want to worry about right now. But anyways, as you guys can see, we now have 5 brilliantly scheduled aircraft. If you take a look at my statistics, I probably have quite high aircraft utilization. Yep, we are first at 19.1 hours on utilization. We also have the newest fleet, actually. That's pretty fun. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I definitely enjoyed recording it, and I'll see you guys next time.